Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. One of the coolest things about this show is that we get so many awesome suggestions from you guys. Like this one, shout out to Curt Robbins, senior tech writer. So Curt sent over this article, When Logic Meets Language, Can OpenAI's Reasoning Engine Make You a Better Writer? By Diana Wolf Torres. And it was published just last week on February 8th. And it really got us thinking about the potential of AI for technical writing, but it's not what you might expect at first glance.
No, not at all. Usually when we think of AI writing tools, we think of tools to help us, be more creative or maybe help with grammar and things like that. But this article focuses on a different kind of AI. It's all about logic and reasoning.
Yeah, it dives into OpenAI's O3 Mini, which is designed for pure logic. It's like having a superpowered computer brain that can also understand language.
Right, and that's where things get really interesting. The author actually tested O3 Mini against other AI models like GPT-4, which is more on the creative side, and 4.0 Mini, which seems to fall somewhere in between.
So how do those different approaches actually play out in the writing? I'm curious to see how that actually like works, in reality.
Well, the article uses the example of generating metaphors, which is a pretty complex task for an AI, right, to come up with a metaphor. So O3 Mini, being very logic-focused, comes up with stuff like AI is a double-edged sword, very straightforward, functional.
Like a dictionary definition almost.
Exactly. Then you have GPT-4, the creative one, spitting out AI is a digital genie in a technological bottle, more evocative, pulling from those cultural references,
Ooh, I like that one.
trying to paint a picture.
Okay, yeah, I see the distinction. It's like O3 minis give you a clear definition, while GPT-4 is trying to like evoke a feeling or an image. So where does that leave 4.0 mini, the one in the middle?
Well, 4.0 Mini kind of lands somewhere between the two with metaphors like AI is a sharp tool in a craftsman's hand. It's still rounded, but there's a touch more flair. And this is a key point the article makes. Choosing the right AI model really depends on what you need it to do.
Makes sense. You got to know what you're trying to accomplish. But here's the thing that really blew my mind. The author found that O3 Mini, the logic guy, actually takes longer to process information compared to other models.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's taking the time to actually think things through. And that seems to result in better, more structured content.
Hmm. That's fascinating. It's almost like a parallel to our own writing process as humans. Sometimes we rush to get words on the page, but the best work often comes from slowing down, analyzing the information, really thinking it through. It seems like O3 Mini might be onto something there.
It really does make you think about, the value of that slow thinking. But okay, let's bring it back down to earth for a second. How does all this logic actually translate into helping us write better technical documentation? Because that's what we're all here for, right?
Right. That's the million-dollar question, and that's what we'll be exploring as we dig deeper into this article. We'll look at specific areas where Mini really shines, like research structuring complex information, and of course the actual writing itself. And I think what you find fascinating is how this AI can help us tackle some of the biggest challenges we face as technical writers.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's get into some real-world scenarios here, where this logical AI can actually make a difference. For example, imagine you're working on a new software manual. You've got mountains of technical specs to sift through.
Oh, yeah. Been there. Done that. It's like, you're just drowning in data sheets, trying to figure out what actually matters for the user. What do they need to know?
Exactly. And that's where O3 Mini's logic-driven approach can really help. The article highlights how this AI excels at analyzing information from multiple sources and then drawing concise conclusions. It's almost like having a research assistant who can cut through all that noise and pinpoint the key facts you need for your documentation.
Okay, so it's not just about finding information, but about making sense of it. That's huge, especially when you're dealing with complex technical concepts that need to be explained in a way that anyone can understand.
Absolutely. And the article suggests that O3 Mini's ability to break down complex ideas makes it incredibly valuable for structuring content, too. Think about creating outlines or organizing your thoughts. This AI could help you determine the most logical flow for presenting information.
Interesting. So it's like having an AI editor whispering in your ear, hey, this section would make more sense if you moved it over here.
Right, exactly. And imagine how helpful that could be when you're explaining a complex process or system. Instead of just throwing a bunch of facts at your reader, O3 Mini could help you build a clear step-by-step explanation. That's easy to follow.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be really useful. So we've got research, we've got structure, but what about the actual writing itself? Can this AI actually help us write more effectively?
Well, here's where the reasoning engine part really comes into play. The article specifically mentions how O3 Mini is optimized for STEM content. It has a knack for explaining technical concepts with precision and clarity, which, let's face it, is something we technical writers are always striving for.
Yeah, for sure. It's not just about spitting out grammatically correct sentences. It's about actually understanding the technical concepts and presenting them in a way that's both accurate and accessible.
Precisely, and I think that's a crucial distinction. It's not about replacing human writers with robots. It's about giving us tools that enhance our skills and help us communicate more effectively.
That makes a lot of sense. But I do have one question. We've been talking a lot about logic, but what about the creative side of writing? Don't we need that too, even in technical documentation?
You're absolutely right. A try-robotic user manual isn't going to win any awards. And the article actually addresses this. It proposes what it calls a writer's hack. Use O3 Mini for that strong logical structure, that solid foundation, but then bring in a more creative model like GPT-4 to add polished style and that human touch that makes writing engaging.
Okay, so it's not an either-or situation. It's about using the right tool for the right job.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that logic and creativity aren't opposing forces. They can actually work together to produce something truly effective.
It's funny, right? We always think about logic and creativity as being like these two totally separate things, almost like they're at odds with each other.
Yeah, it's that classic left brain versus right brain idea.
Exactly.
But what's so cool about this article is that it kind of flips that idea on its head.
Yeah,
It's not about choosing one over the other. It's about recognizing the power of both.
both logic and creativity. Yeah, I'm starting to see that. And it's making me rethink my whole approach to technical writing. Maybe instead of getting so hung up on being perfectly logical or worrying about sounding too creative, it's more about finding that sweet spot where both elements can shine through.
Exactly. And that's where these AI tools can be so valuable. They can help us analyze our work, identify areas where we can improve our logic and structure, and even suggest ways to make our writing more engaging.
It's like having an extra set of eyes or maybe an extra brain to help us, refine our thinking and make our writing the best it can be.
And the most exciting part is that we're just scratching the surface. If an AI can help us think more logically about our writing today, who knows what other unexpected tools or approaches might emerge in the future.
That's what I love about this field. It's constantly evolving, pushing us to learn and grow. And I think that's a great takeaway for all of us, no matter what kind of writing we do. Stay curious, embrace new ideas, and always look for ways to improve our craft.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. So huge thanks to Curt Robbins for sending us down this rabbit hole.
Absolutely.
It's given us a lot to think about. And to all our listeners out there, keep those suggestions coming. We love diving deep into these topics that are shaping the future of technical communication. Until next time, happy writing.